Behind me is an evacuation corridor that the IDF set up to enable the evacuation of civilians from the northern part of the Gaza Strip to the southern part of the Gaza Strip. In the last week, more than 200,000 civilians have used this corridor.
The day I finished the IDF basic training course, I proudly said, "Ani nishba," I swear. My team and I yelled it out loud. The loudest we could, I swear. I swear to protect and defend for the state of Israel.
It's not just me. It's not just me.
It's not just me. It's the Israeli mentality.
Losing friends in the war, but continuing to fight, knowing your loved ones are waiting at home. My grandpa did it 40 years ago.
My dad did it 20 years ago.
And I'm doing it now. I'm Israel Chai.
Hi everyone, Lieutenant Tammy here. I'll be going live on our pages again tonight. So leave any questions you have about the war between Israel and Hamas down below, and I'll be sure to answer all of them tonight.
So a few weeks ago, I made a video about IDF for TikTok, and to clear up some confusion, because people were swarming the comments saying, "Oh bro, you've got a problem with just 20-year-old people in the IDF posting on TikTok. What's wrong with you?" This isn't IDF soldiers on their personal TikTok accounts. Everything I showed you in that video last time was from the official IDF TikTok account. That's what made it so much worse. And I thought we'd take another look at it, because of course there was a bit of a pause in the fighting, and now they've begun ramping it all up again, because they're literally one of the worst countries on earth. And also what we've been exposed to a lot more lately is actually TikToks from IDF soldiers on their personal accounts, and it just shows a society that is very much not okay. Not okay in that they're both doing these things. Not okay in terms of random soldiers are filming themselves doing crimes. And they're posting on social media like it's perfectly normal. And someone summed it up like perfectly on Twitter. They said the reason Israeli soldiers, Zionists, the IDF account, the reason they don't realise how bad what they're doing is because they live in this complete propagandized bubble. So when they're posting these things on their own personal TikToks, and you're like, "You're an absolute psycho, what's wrong with you?" They don't see anything wrong with it, because there's a massive majority of the population in Israel who don't see anything wrong with it, and there's loads of people around the world who don't see anything wrong with it, so they believe in that bubble. It's not absolutely unhinged. But it is. And something I want to hone in on even more this time is focusing on who this propaganda is targeted at. And it's targeted at liberal people. Like I said in the last video, showing you diversity, showing you women prominently, that's all to appeal to liberal sensibilities. It's not to appeal to conservatives who don't want women in the military. It's all about like the girl bossification of war propaganda. And don't worry, it features in this as well. It features in today's video. So what I want us to do today is look at the more like Starship Troopers style TikToks like last week. And then I want to focus on using women again, and using like feminism and women's rights to justify their awful crimes. And then I think I'll finish about them like just in a really dystopian way, basically broadcasting their crimes like they're humane, when it's absolutely disgusting. So yeah, check out the last video if you want, I guess, more of a like an ideological breakdown. This is just like a follow-up where I'm just going to be, talking even more. So I feel like maybe watching the first video first might be good. So let's just jump straight into it. Let's look at IDF TikTok. This has all been posted in the following week since I made my first video. They're all newer ones. And yeah, like I said, not from rando IDF soldiers just making a dance video when they're bored. It's from the official IDF English TikTok account. So I first wanted to show you just like some pretty standard propaganda.
We are fighting Hamas so our kids don't have to run for shelter. So Israeli schools can stop holding rocket-fired drills. So we don't have to put up any more kidnapped posters. So we don't need security guards at the entrance of every school, mall, and train station. We are fighting this war because we know what happens if we don't.
We will fight. In the air, on the ground, and at sea, women and men, in the desert, underwater, on mountains, commanders and soldiers, shoulder to shoulder, in the field, on base, non-stop, for our mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, children, grandparents, to defeat the enemy, an enemy that cares not for the lives of civilians, neither ours nor their own.
But something I do want to talk about is how it kind of focuses on both, just Israelis, and making them safe, and also kind of like World War II. And it's very helpful to get into this frame of reference, thinking about how Israelis view the conflict. So You constantly hear Benjamin Netanyahu and people in the Israeli government, they say to British people who question them, well, look what you did in Dresden in World War II. Look what you did in Dresden. And we're fighting a similar enemy. We are fighting, for you, it was the Germans. For us, Hamas, the Palestinians, they're basically the Germans in that either they fight us or they're all complicit. Therefore, we must target everyone because everyone is basically an enemy combatant. We must do this to make ourselves safe. And in that, you can understand why they only focus on their own civilians and they feel like this total war waged at a mainly civilian population is justified and will make them safer for the future. And they're fighting this like it is World War II. Apart from the whole world can see, using World War II style tactics against a population who can't really fight back isn't justification for using those tactics just because those people don't like you. And also it doesn't make you safer. How does it make you safer? Targeting civilians. Because what you're going to do is have a whole new generation of not only Palestinians who hate you, but loads and loads of people around the world and neighbouring Arab Muslim countries. How does that make Israel safer? It doesn't. And all the stuff that has happened since October, that's a result of you doing stuff like this, and it doesn't make you safer. The average Israeli should realise the Israeli government's policies, historically, don't make Israelis safer. And, you know, Netanyahu's son is chilling in America while all of this is going on. So, yeah, this framing is just to try and play into this mindset of we are fighting our generation's World War II to keep us safe forever. But, yeah, we got more like Starship troopers, a more personal touch, perhaps. Here are some videos that feature, like, Israeli soldiers talking.
The day I finished the IDF basic training course, I proudly said, "Ani nishba," I swear. My team and I yelled it out loud, the loudest we could, I swear. I swear to protect and defend for the state of Israel. After the October 7th dark day for Jewish people and for humanity, I thought of the oath I made. Today I stand here and swear again, after a long journey to become an IDF officer, prouder, screaming louder. No one will break us. Not our nation, not our spirit, not our love. After the October 7th, I'm standing here and screaming, I swear. Ani nishba.
It's not just me.
It's not just me.
It's not just me. It's the Israeli mentality.
Losing friends in the war,
But continuing to fight, knowing your loved ones are waiting at home.
but still sticking to your values.
Remembering your cause.
I'm doing it for my friends.
For those who fought in the war,
For those who have lost their lives.
And those that are keep on fighting.
my grandpa did it 40 years ago.
My dad did it 20 years ago.
And I'm doing it now. Am Israel Chai.
Lots of things to talk about, things that I spoke about in the last video. Notice how all four of the soldiers you've seen are white. Like, very white. And I think a fair few of them have European accents as well. Because what's it trying to tell you about Israel? Israel is a European-style country. It's a Western country. Here's a woman. She's talking about fighting in the military. Very progressive, isn't it? And if you bought into the whole propaganda about Israel, you see that and be like, oh, it's, you know, nice. This collection of diverse people coming together to defend their home or something like that. Not that it points to the absurdity of multiple things of the Israeli military and Israeli society, in that, yeah, it's a collection of foreign people who actually have no connection to the territory, who've come over there simply by their religion or ethnicity and do just the most terrible crimes to a group of people who've lived there for generations, right? Absolutely disgusting, but you can see how they're trying to appeal to a certain group of people. Because again, American conservatives usually support Israel because of Christian Zionism. They don't actually like Israelis. They don't like Jewish people. They support it as part of biblical prophecy to usher in the end of the world. That's why they like it, right? But this is more targeting the people in the Democratic Party. Then look, these people are fighting for their freedom. They look just like you. In the time I've spent researching this topic, I've pretty much seen one Ethiopian Jew in this propaganda. You hardly see any people who aren't very white in this propaganda because, yes, it's English. Everyone's speaking English. It's targeted to Americans and British people, and they're meant to be like, yes, they look just like you. And something that was said by, I don't know if it was the Israeli Prime Minister or President or whatever recently, he was talking about Western civilization. Now the battle is for Western civilization. And like I've always said, Israel supporters are usually Western chauvinist fascists, and they believe Israel is standing up for, like, bizarrely progressive values, like women's rights, gay rights, stuff like that. and you should support them as like a bastion in the Middle East against Islamist forces who would take away all the progress of the West, right? Seems like a great way to achieve this. Again, the propaganda is very targeted towards a specific group of people, and I'd say it's like millennial to boomer liberals, or just centrists and stuff. So a lot of the video a couple weeks ago was spent focusing on women in these TikToks, and you've already seen one woman in this, and like I said, it's like maybe a more subtle thing, being like, look at this diversity, look at the women serving. But something that has been going on recently is the weaponization of feminism, women's rights, and women's trauma at the hands of like violence from men and stuff. And it's being weaponized by the Israelis to try and garner sympathy. Again, it's targeting a certain group of people, liberal people. I've called it woke washing because that's what it is. And in the TikToks you're about to see, you have women basically talking about the whole conflict recently like it's them recounting violence women have suffered at the hands of men, like more generally in society, things like every country talks about, but they're using it to frame the war. We all know what they're trying to do. It's like the dehumanization of Palestinians, that they weaponize this terrible violence against women, and it's exclusive to them. And I'm not even denying this is a thing that happens. Of course it is. Sadly, it happens in pretty much every conflict. But one thing is, Israelis do this too. Israelis actually do it to Palestinian prisoners historically. This has been well documented. And not just to women, they also carry out this similar violence to children as well. Well documented. So again, most people, because they're in this bubble of Western chauvinist liberalism, they don't even think about that. Israelis would never do that. Not that they have locked up children just without a proper sentence, basically for years and years, and they do terrible things to them. You know, it's just those barbarians who live in Gaza who are capable of this. So the first one I want to look at, we have seen this woman a couple times. She is like the main woman who's in charge of IDF propaganda on TikTok. She was basically doing a live stream recently where she was saying, join the live stream if you have questions about our crimes in Gaza. Like, the most dystopian stuff ever. But here she is talking about like this type of thing. And I just want to show you another person who has entered the TikTok propaganda, who also is a white Westerner. And I think this person has an American accent because they love to have American Israelis on this as well, because again, they know who their audience is. So let's have a look.
Think about your sister, your mom, your grandma, your friend. When she goes out and doesn't answer her phone, you imagine the worst case scenario and you worry for her. You can't sleep until you get that "I'm home" text, and your heart skips a beat. Every time you open the news and hear a story about a woman who went through an unimaginable nightmare, you think about her, worrying sick from the idea that it could have been her, and your heart skips a beat. For Israelis, those stories that we are all so terrified of became the reality on October 7th. Hamas's monstrous terrorists kidnapped our sisters, moms, grandmas, and friends. And so their phones keep ringing without answer to calls from loved ones whose hearts for the past 43 days have been continuously missing a beat.
Her clothes are no excuse for what they did. Her parting is no excuse for what they did. Being Israeli is no excuse for what they did. There is no excuse for violence against women. As people, it's our duty to believe victims. Full stop. Because when you disregard victims, you support the violence against them. Violence against women is not legitimate resistance. It is pure evil, and your silence speaks volumes. There is no excuse. Today marks the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Now is the time for everyone to condemn violence against all women.
I find this propaganda in particular probably the grossest I've seen, because I feel like it's just so manipulative. Because here they are taking an issue that has been prominent in Western discourse around the world, like believe women, that's a slogan you've heard. Believe women who come out with accusations of terrible things men have done in positions of power often, right? And you have them talking about, you know, you always wait for that text that I'm home from your daughter, from your girlfriend, from your, you know, women, because it's such an epidemic in society, violence against women, right? And they've taken that and they've basically made it into a thing about Palestinians essentially, right? So they're weaponizing people's feminism against them, being like, well, if you are a feminist, then why aren't you on our side? If you support feminism and women's rights, surely you support the IDF. You support women in the IDF, you support Israeli women who've suffered at the hands of insurgents. And of course, you know, most left-wing people like myself, we will say that is absolutely bad. This being used as a weapon of war, no matter who it is like unjustifiable, be it Palestinian insurgents or the IDF, right? The problem being, I wouldn't weaponize that against people saying that you must support the IDF's crimes because Palestinian resistance or Palestinian insurgents did this. That's not how it works. It doesn't work that if one side does something bad, you must support basically their total annihilation of the people they come from. Again, woke washing, weaponizing woke sentiment, weaponizing people's legitimate feminism and concern for women's rights against them, saying, well, if you actually care for this, if you actually care about women, you would support Israel. I find it super gross because obviously these women are talking heads for propaganda for one of the worst countries on earth, right? I don't know how they personally feel about what they're doing right now. And I'd actually imagine because of the propaganda, maybe they sincerely believe this. If you're a feminist, you support Israel. Israeli soldiers have never done this to Palestinians. Israeli soldiers have never done this to female Israeli soldiers, ever. They're just the most moral, ethically pure army that's ever existed. They've never done anything bad. It's just the Palestinian insurgent. And this propaganda actually reminds me of this tour I did in Belfast recently. I went to West Belfast, got shown around the Catholic side by an ex-Republican soldier, got shown around the Unionist side by an ex-Ulster Unionist. I don't really know what he was. But basically, it reminds me of their propaganda. There was plenty of Israeli flags around. And they had this memorial for the dead in the Troubles. And on the surface, a memorial to dead people, dead children who died in tragic circumstances, should be something we can all agree on and we can all sympathise with. But what's so gross about the settler propaganda is they take this and weaponise it. So I go to this memorial, see terrible pictures on it, and do you know what else is there? Stuff about Jeremy Corbyn. I'm not joking. Right next to pictures of terrible stuff that happened, I have Jeremy Corbyn in my face telling me that he sympathises with this. I have stuff that compares the IRA to Islamic insurgent groups. And then you realise these people also don't care about the issue because they're weaponising it to try and make me side with their illegitimate cause. And it's the same thing happening right now. I support what they're saying, right? I support women's rights. I support speaking up. I support believing women and stuff when they come out with these accusations. And they're trying to get me, someone who does support this, to be on their side, to do whatever they want to the Palestinians because they have documented evidence of insurgent groups doing this, right? Which I admit is absolutely terrible. But when you start politicising it, you detract from the issue because you're not saying this is bad. You're saying this is bad because it's done to Israeli women, specifically. Therefore, you must support what they did back. Same thing happened in Belfast. Same thing happens with the Ulster Unionist propaganda. It's not about the issue. It's not about remembering the women's suffering. It's not about sticking up for women's rights. It's all just very, very partisan and political propaganda. And like I said, it's preying on liberal people who are maybe better on these issues generally, but maybe are confused about this issue. So there they think, oh, well, I will side with the progressive, diverse IDF who talk about feminism while they have, female Israeli soldiers fighting in this war. So I've got a couple more to show you. This one is more focusing on whitewashing, woke-washing the crimes of the Israeli army. We've all seen those videos of them supposedly giving out supplies in Gaza, written in big English letters because they know Western media are watching, right? But don't worry, the new addition to the female propagandist pops up again. This time she's explaining why ethnic cleansing is a good thing and humane.
Behind me is an evacuation corridor that the IDF set up to enable the evacuation of civilians from the northern part of the Gaza Strip to the southern part of the Gaza Strip. In the last week, more than 200,000 civilians have used this corridor, and we continue to call on civilians to temporarily move from the northern part of the strip to the southern part of the strip for their own safety.
So again, just bragging about it, bragging that you've removed 200,000 Palestinians from northern Gaza, then you start attacking them while they go to southern Gaza, and now you're attacking southern Gaza as well. It's almost as if you want them all out of Gaza completely. It's the way they frame it. Some sort of care for Palestinian lives. It's just the most bizarre stuff, but again, they know who their target audience is, because in Israeli society, you don't need to say this. In Israeli society, which no Western outlet covers, You can just say, we're going to make Gaza Israel. You can just say that on TV. No one cares because most people support it, right? It's a deeply sick society. So when this person's just saying, oh yeah, we're moving 200,000 people from their homes temporarily, you're destroying all their homes. What have they got to go back to? At the very least, if they ever go back, you've destroyed their capacity to even live in that place, right? But again, the IDF TikTok just brags about it like it's fine. And again, this is a trend. Here's another one where they say they do everything they can to mitigate civilian casualties and warn everyone. So look at this one.
Over 1.5 million leaflets dropped. Over 4 million text messages sent. Over 19,000 direct phone calls made. Over 5 million pre-recorded phone calls carried out.
عم بتصير هسه حاليا في كل منطقة الجبالية. بدنا نعطي إنذار قبل الوقت لكل الناس في المنطقة لتطلعوا بصورة آمنة إلى الجبال. لكل جبالية.
And evacuation corridors opened. This is the difference between the IDF doing everything in its power to mitigate civilian casualties and Hamas doing everything in its power to keep civilians in harm's way. Our fight is against Hamas, not the people of Gaza.
Aside the fact that is just complete lies, in that they say our war is not with the people of Gaza, it is. Because Israeli officials have constantly said that everyone is guilty in Gaza. It doesn't matter who they are. They've targeted doctors, they've targeted journalists, they've targeted everyone who can document what's happening. They destroy everyone's homes. If you're warning people, get out of the area, we're going to come destroy your home, hospital and school, that's not humane. That's not humane that you may be trying to, for propaganda reasons, not kill everyone in the area while destroying their whole capacity to live there. Again, it's straight up fascist stuff. And again, they're trying to appeal to a certain group of people in Western society by trying to show like they are more humane than the other side. But this is completely backfiring when your response to what happened in October is so overwhelmingly disproportionate, everyone can see it for what it is. You just want to claim Gaza from yourself, and this is a plan that has been in motion for a long, long time. This is something Netanyahu has wanted to do for decades and decades and decades, and he finally has the chance to do it, so he's doing it. And we've seen how the Israeli press, how the Israeli TV stations cover this stuff. What you can say in Israeli society about this is absolutely insane. It's fascist, it's all this stuff, and you pretending to Westerners on your English TikTok that you're just the most humane people, you care about women's rights, you care about diversity, you're so diverse and progressive. It's not working with anyone. The only people it's working with is like 35-year-old plus blue no matter who voters who support Israel no matter what, right? That's the only people it's working with. Or maybe some idiot liberal British people as well. Because everyone else can see that you're just lying. This isn't true. And if you are making a point that should be legitimate, like, oh, we can all agree violence against women in times of war is bad, you're then using it as political point scoring to try and paint yourself as morally superior while you kill, what, like 16,000 people? Mostly civilians, mostly children? I should support that for the reasons you say. I should support the IDF for the reasons you say. I'm hoping as generations go on, we just look at everyone involved, all these people I've shown you, and we recognise them for what they are. We recognise everyone who supported this stuff is just the most monstrous type of person. You see this stuff every day. You see what's happening in Palestine. You see what's happening to these people, even in the West Bank now as well. You see all this terrible stuff that has been going on for decades. And you side with Israel? You side with them. It doesn't matter what your politics are. It doesn't matter if you technically agree more with, I don't know, some laws about the LGBT community in Israel than what's going on in Gaza, because you can recognise that is no excuse for what is being done. Unless you're a Western chauvinist fascist, like lots of people are, sadly. So it all just feels like really hopeless at the moment, but, you know, the fact that they can broadcast their crimes in 4K and feel like they can get away with it just says everything about the world, because, yeah, they can get away with it, sadly. You can get away with anything when you're best buddies with most of the members of the Security Council. Get America to veto every resolution condemning you at the UN. You can do whatever you want, and America's happy to let that happen, because America doesn't care about Palestinians. America does not care about Muslims. How many have they killed in the last 20 years? Again, Israel is just doing what America has already done, just in a more like extreme timescale. And again, they don't care, because the whole Western political apparatus, the Western media, it's complicit. It's complicit in this for various reasons, but mainly one of them is Israel is one of the biggest allies to the West in the region, and it serves its geopolitical purpose for the United States and for Britain and for Europe and stuff. This horrific stuff we're seeing is going to inspire so much media over the coming years, because it's just like unbelievable. These TikToks especially, like unbelievable. all the satire we've ever had about like jingoism, political propaganda, war propaganda, you know, all the satire you get in something like GTA about the US military, right? It feels like this type of stuff will inspire all of that because it's just so insane. It's so tasteless. It's so gross. It makes me sick, basically, especially the stuff about women. It makes me sick. Israelis don't realise this just makes them unsafe for the foreseeable future. What you've done, it cannot be undone, and it's constantly just going to be remembered by generations now. And they've seen how monstrous your society is, and that recent polling shows that a tiny minority oppose what's going on. An absolutely minuscule amount of people in Israel don't support what's going on right now. It speaks to both, you know, an extremely militarized society, extremely violent society. It speaks to the propaganda that works so effectively to dehumanize a group of people that you can just justify anything that happens to them in your head because it keeps you safe. And at the end of the day, all your propaganda that never again keeps you safe, it isn't true because this doesn't keep you safe. And as you've seen with lots of people around the world, when you constantly conflate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, it makes Jews unsafe around the world because you're basically telling people this is the face of Judaism. And I wish Israelis would, you know, realise this. But at the same time, they just hate Netanyahu. They don't hate what's going on. Let's stop tricking ourselves and acting like they don't support what's going on because they do. And that's why you get absolutely insane stuff like this, which is put out there and no one cares. The only people who think it's weird is me. Like leftist people. Literally it. Everyone else thinks it's okay, right? Anyway, that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.